Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to the channel, and today we're talking about Godforge through the lens of one of Nubraids' recent videos that was a commentary on the meme that is Wait, Shadow Legends, and why that led to the game's success. Godforge is a hero collector. It is a mobile game, and we will be gathering resources to summon for heroes that feels very much like other games that have come in the genre in between. But what can they learn from some of the other successes, and how can they make it better? Let's get into it. In Nub's video, he highlights 7 things that he believes led to the success of Raid Shadow Legends. And those things are the timing that happened when it came out with COVID, the social aspect of the game, shard events, champion scarcity, regular content updates, visual presentation, and last but not least, the ad budget of Plarium. Now we're going to go over these 7 categories and how they apply and how they might be utilized inside of Godforge. And frankly guys, I had this video all prepped and ready. There was a long format in which I was literally just reacting to Nubs' video, and I thought, y'all deserve better. And so I'm redoing this video and repackaging it for y'all because I know a lot more now than I did when I started recording that for the first time. Based off conversations I've had with Sham and Simon, there's a lot more I can bring to the table when it comes to these topics. So let's start with number 1, the timing of COVID. Obviously, Fateless cannot reproduce the moment in time that happened in the year 2020 when many gamers were sitting at home stuck without anything to do and needed an outlet. That, paired with the ad budget that we'll get into later for Raid Shadow Legends, seemed to draw a lot of people into their game, and that just simply isn't going to be the same experience for Fateless and Godforge. However, I believe timing is still a critical point and a critical moment for Fateless to be able to launch off of when it comes to their game. And I spoke on this recently. I believe it was my conversation with Sham when it was that within the genre and in the gaming space, there are 2 points of timing that really lend itself to Fateless succeeding. And one of that is that there is a sense of, exhaustion, a sense of boredom when it comes to other areas of the genre, that players are looking for something fresh and new. But you pair that with where we are as a generation, as a people, and as gamers, in that so many things are AI driven, or so many things seem and lack genuine authenticity, that when people come up against the relational aspect of Fateless, when they see what is going on between Godforge, the community, and the Fateless team, the authenticity that is occurring there and what that is contributing to the vibe and community is infectious. But that is only happening because of the contrast in the rest of our world that seems so separated and cold when it comes to community relationship. So in a sense, while we're not going to see the exact same timing that some companies had in the past when it came to just aligning with lockdown and people being stuck at home, there are a lot of timing factors that I think are going to really benefit Fateless in the long run. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's free to you, and it does so much for a young channel like my own to be able to push it out to more people who are looking for this type of content. If you enjoy what I do and the content that I put out, joining my subscribers and helping me reach that 1,000 subscriber mark is the biggest thing you can do today. Membership is right around the corner, and there's a lot of things that are going to be coming to this channel as the game goes live, and so don't miss out. Hit that button, and thanks for joining me in the journey. So number 2, the social aspect of Raid Shadow Legends. Raid in the general hero collector genre, you might even just want to broaden that and say many types of mobile games have this unique flair about them that they are, in their essence, a solo playing game. You can pick it up on your phone or your computer whenever you want, and you can play and progress your account whenever you want. You can spend money to progress, you can choose to be free to play, and really it's all up to you. But there are also social aspects of this game. There are clans in many games, and that contributes to the social relationships that you build throughout the game and potentially even build friendships out of. But there's something about Raid Shadow Legends and the community that formed around it and the resources that formed around that game that led to further community, further social areas, and a development of relationships that just kind of goes beyond logic. Because of everything that was designed for the game, because of the communities that were built, the website, the optimizer, the Deadwood Jedi's website, all of the speed tuning calculators and everything like that, there was always so much attention in a lot of the community for connecting with content creators on YouTube, for consuming content that way, for being inside of Discord and sharing tips and tricks and content and questions and insights with your clan members, that for whatever reason, Raid as a social aspect became something that was pivotal in its ecosystem, the relationships we had. And for Godforge, I think that that's even going to be further highlighted in the community, because let's be honest, Godforge is a community-focused game. Godforge wouldn't be where it was today without the community that has surrounded the alpha progress, seeing Fateless develop their game, giving core feedback all along the way and helping them improve. And that's going to continue as we move to technical launch, to beta, to whatever comes next. And if you saw it on my channel, I'll put a link in the description or a pin up above. Sham talks about how Fateless as a company is community first, is relationship first. And so there is so much that's rolled into that and the pivotal need for that in gaming today, that the social aspects and how much a community is focused around that is going to really be a benefit for Godforge. In fact, it's been mentioned before, I've talked about it, Adam brought it up last week on his channel, is that I as a content creator am actually going to be forging my own pantheon, and it's going to be called Pax Carolus. You can see it here on the screen. And my community is all going to be focused around developing strong relationships that fight against and say no to having toxic behavior, and enabling a space for all gamers of all types to be able to come together to build one another up, to encourage and uplift other players so that we can all enjoy a gaming space together. And so there is a Discord. You can see it down. There's a link down in the description. Please come and join me in Pax Carolus. We'll be building out all kinds of pantheons, hopefully some clusters even when it comes to the live game. And this is going to be my home base for being able to communicate with me, to communicate with other members of my community. And I really look forward to seeing you there. This is going to be a pivotal part of not only my channel, but I think in general, the whole atmosphere of Godforge in the future. So don't miss out. Come and join me down in my Discord below, Pax Carolus, and I look forward to having you there. Number 3 is the shard events in Godforge and all the hype and the highs and lows that come with that. Now, Nub does mention that there is positives and negatives to this, but this is going to be focusing on that positive side, in that with shard events, maybe more so in the past when there was legitimate hype around a particular hero being guaranteed, or some kind of summoning being more of an effective boost that really has that potential of getting that hero, is that what it does is it enables gamers to be able to save their resources, to play in the long game, really, right? Because they might be playing every single day. They might play YOLO and pull every single shard when they get them, or they might say, I want to use my resources for something that really matters. And so while they're playing normal content, they're saving up those resources to invest in later, which keeps them around. And for some free-to-play players, that's going to keep them engaged in the long run. For spenders, that's also going to keep them engaged because they're always waiting and looking for what is next and hoping to continue to build their account, which will, add to more spending. So for Godforge, when it comes to this type of benefit, I mean, one, it's a hero collector, right? So there's naturally going to be this aspect that, yes, there are going to be events around summons, whether Fateless chooses to do a more raid style summoning where it's always a random hero, maybe a highlighted hero may have an increased chance, or if they go down the banner route where it's like this hero has a significantly higher chance of being summoned, and so you can summon for them and you'll have them potentially guaranteed after a certain amount of summons. We don't know exactly what their choices are going to be when it comes to the style of summons we're going to get with the Aether Crystals, but we do know that Aether Crystals are going to be a core resource in the game that is going going to be used to summon heroes. And so I think there is certainly going to be this hype. There's certainly going to be this focus on, getting certain heroes for really looking towards the big hitters, the ones that are really going to change the account, and players are really going to sit and wait and look forward to that opportunity to spend or that opportunity to invest the resources that they've gained over time. I know for me, for certain, when the game goes live, there will probably be a certain level of YOLO summoning just because, you want to build your account early on. But then I won't really be summoning anything until I fully understand the way in which they plan to kind of lay out summoning events and how they're going to highlight certain heroes and everything like that, so I can understand exactly what I want to do and what I might suggest for you going forward. And so I think that Godforge certainly has the opportunity to really harness these events. And I think that players are really going to be looking for something slightly different than Raid. And the good thing about all of this is that we know that Fateless knows, right? Like, they've done all of this. They've played the games. They are clearly gamers that are passionate about the game that they're playing. And so while they're going to do things that it's like we may not think we like, for example, summoning rates. Like, we may think that we want more legendaries, but we may not necessarily actually want that because of what it feels like then to pull a good legendary. They're going to be putting all of that together to try to create something that is truly special, I believe. And that goes straight into number 4, which for Raid is Champion Scarcity that Nub mentions. And I think that this is actually going to align perfectly with Godforge as well, because there is a certain bar that you want to hit, right? You don't want to give out a ton of legendaries. You don't want to have like 500 summons at the beginning of the game and you walk away with 10 legendaries from that, because then you're taking these heroes, one, that you don't have resources for, and so you have to slowly build them out, especially around like skills and upgrades and things like that. But you also then lose the value of other heroes. And we've seen it, guys. There are so many heroes inside of Godforge that, one, look incredible, but two, are very unique. And those are epics and rares as well. And so I believe that in order to really harness, and what Godforge is going to be doing in their game is making sure that when we get a legendary, it truly feels like that special moment. And so there is going to be that certain level of champion scarcity in the game, especially at the beginning when we're just starting out and that we're only going to have so many resources and legendaries. Every single pull is going to be brand new. And that's really going to add to that hype, that excitement, that just looking forward to what we're going to get. Because at the end of the day, if we were to just be able to get everything we wanted, it might feel good in the moment, but a year from now, where will Godforge be? Where will Fateless be as a company? So by ensuring that the heroes that are powerful, that the heroes that have places to be used in the game and maybe not played all the time, but certainly played some of the time, there is going to be that balance that is going to be sought after by Fateless. And I think that they're going to have a good pulse on it. And I think a lot of gamers aren't going to be happy with that, because I think a lot of us want just an immediate gratification. I think we think we want to just have everything and feel good about that. And sure, might I look at my Raid Shadow Legends account and wish I had the biggest whale account in the game that had all the mythicals and all of the legendaries and this and that, but then what's the point of playing? Like, the point of playing then is to just like wait for the next great hero so I can spend more money and hopefully get that hero maxed. And then it's just a spending game where I'm just continually investing my money just to make sure that I stay on top. Whereas the alternative is that I'm always playing and always being challenged with the new content with the resources I have. And when I get that moment of getting that scarce champion, which, like, for me, I remember the first time that I got, let's even talk about an epic. The first time I got Shamael was incredible because Hydra had come out and I hadn't had him. But then when I pulled him, it completely changed my account. And because he's a void epic, he was less common to pull. And so it felt so great to be able to pull that hero and change my account. And that feeling, especially even more recently, when I pulled Senna on a event that gave her increased chance, like that feeling and knowing that, like, hey, my account's going to change because I was lucky enough to pull this hero. I wasn't guaranteed, but I was lucky enough to pull her. It just felt good. And so that feeling is still going to exist in Godforge. I think we're going to see some tweaks to how we experience it, and I look forward to learning more about that as the game gets closer to live, but it certainly is going to be an aspect. And then there comes the part that really keeps gamers around, which is number 5, regular content updates. Now, when it comes to Raid, obviously this is a good thing. We do get regular content updates, but it does feel as though there's things that like fall behind, that updates aren't necessarily as popular or happen as many times as we'd want, but we still get regular updates throughout the year that create new content that continue to engage the long-term player and create more for the new players to be able to play. For Godforge, the great thing about Godforge, and at least what we know today from Fateless, is that this is absolutely going to be a core aspect of who they are as a company, and that regular content updates are going to actively come out, that there's going to be so much around various events and various like additions to the story and things like that, that content updates are just going to be part of their DNA. Speaking with Simon on Podforge really highlighted the fact that they are constantly aware of everything they can do versus everything they want to do. So there's a very common term called MVP, which is minimum viable product. And what that means is that what can we do to get a game out to the public that they can play and enjoy without having to wait until it is quote unquote done. And so a minimum viable product is something that you can package and feel good about delivering, but you know that you have more to add to. And let's be honest, every game is like that. Every developer delivers an MVP to their community because they know that the community wants to play the game. There's been comments around Godforge just give us the game already, but they're still working on so much content that they haven't reached that MVP level, because you have to find that sweet spot of letting all the gamers who really want to play your game play, but also have a great product for people who are going to be introduced to your game for the first time. Because if you focus more on the players who want to play, then the new players aren't going to be hooked because the content isn't going to be up to par. But if you wait and create something that is going to be perfect for those new players, you're going to lose all the hype and all of the community around the players who really, really just want to play your game. And so finding that and making sure that there's a balance there is key and core to Fateless. And Simon himself says that he really struggles with this concept because he wants all these really cool ideas to be in the game, and he's just excited about, normalized PvP and other types of areas of the game that we've already talked about, even building out pantheons. Check out the Podforge episode that I was on with Adam last week, when he talks about the leaks around pantheons and shows the leaks on my channel. I also have the leaks that he displayed for us. I'll put a comment and a pin down as well. I mean, there's just so much coming, but they have to focus on what is going to deliver a game in early 2026. And everything that's been talked about isn't going to be in the initial launch, but there's going to be a roadmap of things to update. And I think that because they are gamers, because the Fateless team are gamers, and because they know what they want, I think those content updates, that roadmap is going to be pretty tight, that they're always going to be working on the next thing because they want to play the next thing. And they also have like multi-year plans to, develop other games and grow as a company and really make a name for themselves in the gaming community, which is phenomenal. I want that so much for Fateless because of who they are and because of the community that they create in the spaces they step into. But they have plans and they have goals. And so I think that we're going to see, I could almost potentially say, an aggressive roadmap from this game and from this developer when it comes to regular content updates. And I think it's going to be huge for the gamers that play their game because they always know that something else is coming. Now, this is a double-edged sword, because the more content that comes out, the harder it is to onboard new gamers and make sure that they're not overwhelmed. But if they are able to onboard players efficiently and slowly kind of integrate them into these updates and everything that they're doing for the game, I think they could find great success there. And Simon himself has said, even just a year, maybe 2 years out from game launch, there's going to be catch-up mechanics potentially in the game to help new players, rank up their first hero faster and kind of just get that boost of power early on so that they're not just sitting behind where all of us were on day one. And so clearly there's going to be no catch-up mechanics on day one. We're going to be playing from scratch and starting at the very beginning. I can't wait for that, but it's good to know that they have an understanding of what they want to do, how they want to do it, and they're saving content Like things that they've been ideating on, things that they've been thinking on and planning on for probably years at this point, they're still saving for post-launch. So they continue to develop their game, continue to make it a better game, and continue to bring us great parts and great like areas of the game that we won't even be able to experience at the beginning, but look forward to in the future. So that's really exciting. Number 6, though, when it comes to Raid Shadow Legends, is I think one of the things that they are most well known for, which is their visual presentation, their hero design, their dungeon and boss design. Raid Shadow Legends is a beautiful game when it comes down to it, and that dark fantasy vibe kind of is in stark contrast to a lot of like the idle games, the hero collectors that came before it. It has nothing to do with anime. It has nothing to do with like cartoon animated styles, and so many games in that area, because of the developers that make them or where they come from in the world, highlight and focus that like animated anime or cartoon style. And so when Godforge came out and designed this dark fantasy with a more realistic style of art, it really stood out. And there's over time been so many comments and statements about how great the designs are for Raid Shadow Legends. I mean, there's so many videos that I've watched of Ash who's just obsessed with how this hero looks or how that hero looks or how great this design is. And, you know, a great example is Little Miss Annie. I've heard so many content creators talk about how incredible her design is just from an art perspective. Raid Shadow Legends has great visual presentation, and that sets the bar high for Godforge. One of the most seen critiques for Godforge is that the game looks old. It looks outdated. It doesn't look like it's going to be able to deliver on that visual presentation. But it's alpha, and we're moving towards beta. And as we're seeing more leaks today, we can even see the kind of the progress they're making in those visual representations. Lighting is not finished. Optimization is not finished. The hero designs, everything like that is not finished. We don't know, and we can't sit here and say today exactly what the final product of Godforge is going to look like. In fact, we can't even say what it will look like 5 years from now, because it's going to even continually be upgraded and made better from launch. So the reality is that the Fateless team has played Raid Shadow Legends. Clearly, they know where the bar is. They've played Watcher of Realms. They've played King Arthur. They've played all of the newer hero collectors and seen those art designs. And they're even working with another company to help them make sure that all of their designs are up to par and that their optimization, their lighting is up to par. And so there's so much there that they know that they have to deliver at. We just haven't seen it yet. And that excites me, because even the hero designs that we see now, like the concepts, the intricacy, the small details that they're putting into their heroes is incredible. And while we may not necessarily be seeing the fruit of that in the final finish on that today, it is certainly showing what we can look forward to. So I'm really excited about that. And frankly, because they know where they need to land, I think that the Fateless team is going to deliver. And that's really going to set them apart and show that they know exactly what they need to do to be able to stand out in the genre. And then last but not least, guys, number 7 is one of the things that I believe truly led to a high level of success for Plarium and Raid Shadow Legends, and that is the amount of money that company spent on ads. I told Sham last week when I spoke with him that an ad is what got me. I got into playing Raid because I saw so many ads on YouTube when I was looking for something. I was like, okay, fine. You know what? I'll check this out. At least, you know, I know that the game's not going to look like this because it was more of like an animated ad. Probably something to do with, you know, Elhain and the Ice Golem or something like that. But it's like I clicked in, I downloaded, and I started playing, and then I enjoyed the game. And so because they spent so much money, and I would certainly think about how they've spent money in previous years, because I'm not a huge fan of developers just paying content creators to create like an ad that is just like, wow, look at this game that I'm playing. This is incredible. You should go download with my link. This is awesome. Look at this here. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I summoned them. Like, I can't stand those ads. Like, Fateless, if you watch this, please, especially at the beginning, don't. I hope you don't do that. But that's my own perspective. I could completely be wrong. But we know what their bar is. Like, we've seen the trailer. And yeah, that's a high budget trailer, and they probably won't be looking to spend that kind of budget on every single ad or every single cinematic they create, but we know what it is. And Simon has said, like, hey, once you see the opening, you're going to want to see the next one, and you're going to want to see the next one. And I know myself, when it comes to the story of Godforge, that is something that I'm going to be just like locked in on. Every time that there's a cinematic, every single time that there's a new piece of lore, anytime that we are adding to the story of what is happening with Godforge in the realm of the gods and everything like that, I'm going to want to learn more. And so I think that because of that, there's going to be a lot of content for Godforge to be used for Fateless when it comes to, you know, ads and just sharing the game with community. But we're also talking about a dollar amount, right? Now, I believe there was a video a while back. I think it was Ash who was like, you know, this is a $14 million game already, and it's not even finished yet. Godforge has put a lot of money into development, and I mean, we'll see where their budget is when it comes to marketing. Now, the cool thing, though, is that we have Dan sitting in the role of CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer, and he has experience in this area. He is very, very smart. Everything that we've seen from him, everything I've heard about him is great. And if anybody at Fateless has gotten this far, guys, I really want to connect with Dan. So would love to have him on the channel. But there is a lot that goes into a marketing strategy, and from what Sham told me this past week, it really seems as though Dan is taking, at least at this state, kind of like a grassroots approach of being able to market effectively with the resources they have without just like going full tilt into like the stylized marketing that we're seeing from developers today. I think that a lot of value is lost in a company when they just see faces that have nothing to do with the game, or celebrities that have nothing to do with the gaming community hype a game. Like, we know that's fake. We don't care. Granted, I say that, but then I'm immediately reminded of the Jeff Goldblum, I think, ads that were for Raid. And I mean, let's be honest, if Jeff Goldblum does anything, a lot of people are going to follow, because who doesn't love Jeff Goldblum? But I think that is like kind of a one-off, at least in my mind. But guys, let me know in the comments down below, like, how you feel about this and how you feel about ads. But there is a lot that's going to happen there. And I think that we're going to see some unique avenues of marketing and ad management when it comes to Fateless, based off of what I've been told so far. I will be curious to see what they do and how they do it, because frankly, marketing drives acquisition of players, of new gamers, is what leads to success. And then onboarding them effectively once they're in the game is what leads to longevity. And so hopefully there is a great marketing strategy in place. In fact, if I could have Dan on my channel, I think that's one of the primary things that I would be chatting with him about. I would love to know kind of what is the marketing strategy for Fateless moving forward. And that would be such an interesting thing to dive into. And so, guys, these were the 7 things that led to the success of Raid Shadow Legends according to Nubraids: the timing of COVID, the social aspect of Raid, shard events, champion scarcity, regular content updates, visual presentation, and ad budget. Do you think that these things are going to be harnessed by Godforge and the Fateless team? Do you think they're going to iterate, make these things better inside of their game? Or do you think that in some ways we're going to be playing Wait Forge, just like the meme Wait Shadow Legends? We'll see, and only Fateless can deliver the results on that. But I know that I'm excited, and I have hope in what Fateless is doing, because so far, they've delivered a great experience for the community. And if you haven't gotten involved, if you haven't checked out the Fateless Discord, I definitely suggest that you do. Check out their channel. It's linked down below. You're going to see all those things. And guys, make sure and like and subscribe to the video. Join me, join the journey of Charlemagne and Pax Carolus and everything that we're doing. Join a community of gamers that don't put up with toxicity and only want to have a great time gaming together. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.